This episode of $1 Million Worth of Game is brought to you by DraftKings. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NFL. Every game is another chance to cash in. Don't just watch it in the action. Win with it. DraftKings Sportsbook delivers unmatched intensity of the NFL right to your fingertips. From first touchdown scores to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one is for you. Just bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season's heating up, so download DraftKings Sportsbook right now. Use code Gillie. That's code Gillie. Get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place just a $5 bet. Just your first $5 bet. Punch in that code Gillie. You already know $200. Whip, right to you. You feel me? Plus over 200 NFL Sunday tickets from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Put it on and wear it right. This episode of $1 Million Worth of Game is brought to you by Jackpocket. Ordering lottery tickets to go with our partners at Jackpocket, the go-to app for ordering lottery tickets right from your phone. Mega Millions, Powerball, state lottery games, and even scratch-off tickets. Jackpocket got them all, and it's extremely easy to use. If you're new to Jackpocket, sign up with code Gillie2. That's Gillie2. Come on, whip your phone out because we giving away, Gillie2. To get $5 in lottery credits. That $5 towards a shot at the next massive jackpot. Don't miss out. Use code Gillie2 on Jackpocket today. So you can use the code, get the $5, use it to the Mega Millions, the Powerball. If you hit, I don't want nothing back. But if you hit, just show me some love. Jackpocket, America's #1 lottery app, right?
You're now tuned into $1 million worth of game,
Yes.
$1 million worth of Mark.
Legend.
The legend.
The legend is on set.
The legend.
Yes.
You come far. I'm looking at the movie and I'm like, first and foremost, I don't even know how this dude is doing all this moving around. It's just action packed. And you moving like you 16. Like, how do you do it?
I really started living a disciplined lifestyle, 5 or 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, I realized that in order to do what I do at a high level, you got to have longevity, right? So just trying to figure out the right way to eat, the right way to exercise, the right way to recover, all of those things. And, discipline has afforded me so many wonderful things in my life. So I was just like, wow, I just wish I would have just done this sooner,
So how was it when you first started? You go to set.
Well, you're young, you still wanted to go out, you still wanted to enjoy life, especially you're in a new town, you're in a city like shooting in New York, for instance, right? Mm-hmm. So we'd go to the set, we'd shoot for a 12-hour day, then we'd go out and go to dinner, and go out at night and do the whole thing, and next thing you know, you're sleeping on the trailer, you're sleeping on the floor, you're trying to get a nap in between setups and shots, but I obviously can't do that. I mean, I want to wake up feeling good, I want to feel energetic. I feel better than I have in a long time through corrective exercise and stuff. I fixed a lot of I've got torn meniscus in both knees, I got torn labrums in both shoulders, I got 3 herniated discs, but I'm training correctly now, and I feel better than I have in a long time.
Every movie, I'm pretty sure you approach it differently. How did you approach Play Dirty?
Well, the great thing about Play Dirty is you got a writer-director, Shane Black, who is very specific in what he's looking for. So some directors are, a little less experienced maybe than me, somebody maybe we've hired to come on and do something that we've produced and developed. But with Shane, this is his thing. So I'm basically there to service his vision. So I want to make sure that I know the script inside and out, word for word, every period, comma, punctuation mark, and then also come in with a million ideas myself to basically be able to enhance the part. And with this movie, normally I'll have, it depends on what I'm doing before that, but I'll, 3, 4, 5 months to prepare. And this movie, I signed on right before the writer's strike. I mean, actually the actor strike. So we had about 7 months to prepare for this part. So I knew the script inside and out. But here's the guy who, he has a very specific and unique vision. And there's only a few times I've worked with filmmakers where you're there specifically to service their vision. And he may even give me a line reading, which for a lot of actors is like, don't you dare. But I don't mind. I don't want to sit there and have to go through the discovery process of doing 20 takes to find out what he's looking for if he's not able to articulate or I'm not really understanding what he's saying. So just say, tell me how you want me to say it. And I might not do that for everybody. I may have a very more clear idea and vision of how I want to do something if it's something that is near and dear to me and something that I'm a little bit closer to the material than the filmmaker at the time.
I used to take my niece and my nephew to the restaurant. Y'all had a restaurant in Philly, go there eat. So I remember one time he was watching a movie. I said, man, you don't know nothing about no Mark. He said, oh, you don't eat. Tell me about your movies. So I played Good Vibration. He said, that's not him. I said, that's who it was. He was like, what? That's Mark Wahlberg rapping? I said, yeah, that's Mark. It's something you don't know about. How did you transfer from there and say, let me get into this acting? How did it come about?
It was really by chance. I think because I started in music, the guy who directed my music videos had also basically kind of did Will Smith videos, he did Tupac early videos. I mean, he was the one who encouraged me to get into film. I ended up doing my second movie with him, which is The Basketball Diaries. But he felt like I just had this presence on camera and he was like, you should be an actor. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I thought I was gonna be the one, right? Little did I know I had one hit and I was done. But it turned me into, it put me in a position where I could meet people, and so I got approached by a couple of different filmmakers to do roles that wouldn't have given me an opportunity to have a real career.
What type of roles they try to put you in?
The villain in like a rollerblade movie, the white rapper in Sister Act 2, which I love. Bill Duke was directing the movie. I was a big fan of Bill Duke, so I went in to meet him, met Whoopi and everybody, but it wasn't right for me, so I didn't pursue the opportunity. But with Penny Marshall, who I had gotten, she saw me actually at an APLA event for Calvin Klein. And so she said, I want to meet that guy for the movie. And they were like, would you want to meet Penny Marshall and Danny DeVito? I was like, you mean Laverne and the guy from Taxi? I was like, oh, absolutely. And I happened to be in New York, but I didn't have any interest in being in the movie. I just wanted to meet them because I was such a big fan of theirs. I mean, they were a big part of my childhood. So when I went to the meeting, she was like, Marky, what are you doing? You're an actor anyway. You're acting like a tough guy. You're acting like a rapper. You're doing all these things. You should be in the movies. And I was like, I don't know. But I love cinema because I grew up watching movies with my dad. My dad was a truck driver, I'm the youngest of 9 kids, so I would always go to the movies with my dad. I would go to work with him. We'd always kind of, we delivered school lunches. We lived on school lunches, so I'd take some Oreos and, a milk, and my dad would take some Schlitz and stick it in a bag, and we'd go in the theater, and we'd watch these movies that were inappropriate for my age at the time, but I just fell in love with the idea of it. Watching Charles Bronson and, Steve McQueen and John Garfield and Robert Ryan. I mean, the list goes on of the guys that were very kind of blue collar, and had a big influence in my kind of style and approach to acting. But so I met Penny, and she was like, just read the scenes. So that day, I ended up reading for 4 different parts, and it was basically an ensemble of characters within a classroom in a boot camp setting in the military, kids going through boot camp. And so after that, I was like, wow, this is actually a cool experience, right? They were kind of teaching me things as we were going along. And so then she was like, well, listen, I don't know if I can cast you, but we may do a screen test and bring a bunch of people in to kind of do these chemistry reads where they'll pair you with different actors and stuff like that. So by that time I was like, wow, I really enjoyed that. It was a really interesting experience. So I flew myself out to LA, went through the screen test and everything. And then by that time I found myself really fighting to get the part. And then when I got the part, I was just like, God, I gotta learn this business. I gotta understand what's going on. So I went back and started watching all these great movies that I grew up watching with my dad. And that was the only movies? Hard Times with Charles Bronson, where he was a bare knuckle fighter in Louisiana, with James Coburn, was the first movie I'd ever seen in the theater. I watched Steve McQueen, John Garfield, Robert Ryan, and like even movies like, Tom Cruise and, whatever was popular at the time, and then all the stuff that I grew up watching. But I went to the set and I basically found myself hanging around all the time. So I would sit there, I would spend a lot of time, I would travel back and forth to the set every day with Gregory Hines. And Greg would really share a lot of interesting anecdotes with me and a lot of game. And we had a lot of opportunity. We had a lot of things in common, Greg and I, let's just say that. So we would hang out quite a bit, driving back and forth from the set to this hotel. And I just kind of became a sponge. I wanted to understand what everybody was doing, both in front of and behind the camera. And then after that movie, that's when Scott Calvert was going to do the Basketball Diaries with Leonardo DiCaprio. Like I said, he had directed my music videos, he had directed Will's videos early on, and Pac's, and he told all three of us that we should go into the movies. And that was like my second go-around. Then I had to basically audition, I don't know, I auditioned probably 10 times to get that part before you know, I could do like a chemistry read with Leo. And then once I got that part, it was like I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
I got a two-part question for you. Growing up, you loved the music.
Yes.
You didn't really love acting. You didn't even think that acting was even a shot
a possibility.
For you. Right, it wasn't a possibility for you. Okay, when you finally started acting, what was the movie that when you started to believe and like, okay, I might got something? And then when did you learn to love it?
Well, I think I loved it from the very beginning.
Okay.
I mean, I felt like I found my calling. This was my niche. This is what I was supposed to be doing. And all the different things that led me there were just part of the path that I had to travel to get there. But no, from the very beginning. But I think once I got into like the Basketball Diaries, where I was playing a role, because I played a guy from Georgia in my first movie. And I had a really strong Boston accent. I only had a certain amount of time. I didn't have a dialect coach or anything like that, so I was just winging it. But I always did voices and imitations, right? But that Boston accent was still just coming through all the time.
Just fighting through.
So when I did the Basketball Diaries, that was me playing ball. I played ball my whole life, you know. So playing basketball, being in the street, playing a movie where this was my wheelhouse, you know what I mean, versus some guy from Willacoochee, Georgia, where I'd never even been, you know. Yeah. After that, when I started getting roles, I would go and live in the places that my character were from to go and kind of prepare for the part. Like when I did Three Kings, I would move to Detroit for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it was. When I did The Perfect Storm, I lived in the bar in Gloucester where my character lived when he was home between trips out in the ocean. So, you know, I became more and more of a student of the game, and the process and the preparation really became a big thing for me. But that first experience, I just kind of longed it. But then I went into, you know, Fear, and then from Basketball Diaries to Fear to pretty much to the Travel, and then Boogie Nights. By that time, I wasn't doing anything else. If I wasn't making movies, I was making my own movies at home, directing short films. Like we go to the Army Navy store, buying gear and equipment and lights and cameras and everything else. And I got evicted from my apartment when we were shooting Boogie Nights because we were doing like Army movies on the roof and shit. And in Hollywood, we're in a condo in Hollywood, and we're running around, trampling on the roof, jumping onto people's balconies and shit. Like, what the fuck is going on here? But I loved it, so I immersed myself into film. I watched everything that came out, you know. I just really became a real student.
This episode of $1 Million Worth of Game is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spot runs on Square. These businesses are what make the neighborhood the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of your home. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. We show up as a community, and we can mean big business for local business owners. Money spent in the neighborhood stays in the neighborhood. Take this ad as an excuse to go support your favorite local spot and have yourself a day in the neighborhood. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/$1 million worth of game to learn more. But before you go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, right? This episode of $1 Million Worth of Game is brought to you by Heal. Fall is near. School and work are ramping up. Life is busy for all of us. I get it. You get it. Time is tough to come by, especially to get a meal that helps you towards your goals. Fortunately, Heal gets it too. At least $3 per meal, it packs with 40 grams of plant-based protein and 27 essential vitamins and minerals. No added sugars, gluten-free, Tastes great with flavors like salted caramel and chocolate, plus it keeps me full for hours. It's perfect for breakfast, lunch, and post-workout. And just like you thought, Hill has everything covered. Just dropped the first of kind super green drink in a can. It's called the Huel Daily Greens Ready to Drink. Forget powders, forget pills. This is your daily green, sparkling, refreshing, and ready whenever you are. I'm obsessed with this new product. Start every day with it. The one thing about Huel is packed. It got all the proteins, it got the minerals, it got everything you need right here. This little bottle right here, look. When it starts your day right, bam! What we talking about? Well, you need the proteins and the minerals. Bam! What we talking about? Try Huel and get 15% off new customers by using code Dollaz. That's code Dollaz at Huel.com/Dollaz. Fool your best performance with Huel today. Right.
Now, when you were 16 and you were sitting in a detention center in Boston, you got out. What made you stop? Because a lot of people feel as though they get in a hard place in life, they don't know how to get out of it. How did you get out of that mindset to get here? Like, how did you?
You know, there was a few people that came into my life that really touched me, in a way. None of my friends came to see me. I mean, there was some friends that I was there with, but for the most part, you know, and it was just like, I don't know. I felt like I'd just been such a disappointment to my parents and the people that believed in me, my old coaches, you know, people the real heroes of the world that, you know, are in the community centers in Boston, they're at the boys clubs, you know, these are the guys that would like, you know, actually really care about you and really try to help you and steer you in the right direction. But there wasn't much opportunity there, you know. If you weren't one of the guys, you were against them, right? So it was one of those things where, you know, trouble was everywhere you looked, right outside my door. So then I had to decide for myself, how am I going to change? I had to take responsibility for myself. I had to decide that I was going to be a leader, that I was going to be my own individual, and that I was going to go out there and do the right thing. And that took a lot of work, you know, but that was the path to really starting to know what hard work means in changing, growing. And, you know, I didn't like where I was, I didn't like what I was doing, and I wanted to change.
Before we go any further, I want to give a big shout out to the director of Play Dirty, the producers, everybody behind the scenes. Because in watching the movie, one of the first things I thought was, what's the fucking budget on this movie? Because, I mean, the angles that it's shot at, it just was unbelievable. So I think that all the people behind the scenes as well deserve a big shout out, because
amazing
the movie
job.
was unbelievable.
It's very hard to make a movie. It's even harder to make a good movie.
Yes.
You know, it's never for lack of effort. You know, everybody's always kind of doing everything that they can. It starts with what's on the page, and then you have to assemble a great team. There's a little bit of luck involved, but yeah. And we didn't have as much money as Shane would have liked to have had to make the movie. But you know, he worked a lot of magic, and it just came together. Yeah, there's a lot of chemistry there, and people, you know, everybody on the cast especially signed up because they wanted to work with Shane.
Right. How fun was it shooting this movie?
It was a lot of fun. The only difficult part for me was just so far away from home. You know, that's the biggest sacrifice that I make. I have to take time away from my family, from my children, and from my wife to go off, you know, 3 months at a time, 4 months at a time. And, you know, we were in Australia making this movie, so it wasn't like I could just fly home on the weekends. You know, if I'm in Philly or I'm in New York, I fly home Friday night, we finish work, we jump on the plane, come back Sunday, back to work on Monday. But my family came down to see me, and, you know, but it's one of those things where, you know, you don't get these opportunities that often to work with somebody like Shane, so I wasn't going to miss out on the opportunity.
When you shoot movies, what people that, you know, that's new in the game, what do you get any juice from them? Any inspiration from the just seeing the hunger, seeing them?
Yeah, absolutely. But my hunger and my passion and my drive and my desire has not diminished at all. It's only grown. You know what I mean? People are always like, oh, well, you've worked hard, you've gotten to this level, and, you know, why are you going so hard? And, like, I feel like I've yet to do my best work, you know? For me, it's interesting seeing how I was, because it feels like yesterday when I was telling you the story of Penny Marshall or these other movies that I did, it seems like yesterday that I was making this movie and that I was the new kid. You know, Bill Paxton, God rest his soul, my nickname for him was the Kid, right? And he called me Kid Millions, actually. And then, and now I'm the elder statesman on the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Go ahead.
But
Crazy.
the beauty in acting, the difference between the acting and rapping is, in rapping, you would be considered an old rapper now. In acting, you still can play a young guy. You can still
pay very close attention.
Yes.
To everything that's going on. I know when I met you guys before, you know, you guys were surprised how much I knew about you guys and what you guys doing, you know, from Wallow and all of his inspirational stuff to your musical past, you know, coming up to Philly, and you know, but I've always kept my ear and my eye on the game. Look, I mean, I grew up, you know, my love, passion was hip hop music, breakdancing. I mean, I was, you know, I was growing up in the, you know, late 70s, early 80s when it was really coming about. You know, first car I ever bought, I had to get my Benz. You know who sang my Benz? Philly guy. Philly guy. And when I got my first car, that's all I listened to, one song. Riding around in the street, listening to that song. Yeah.
You came from rapping to becoming a movie star to conquering the business field. What's been harder to take over on your journey?
I don't feel like I've taken anything over. I just feel like I'm consistent. I've learned in business and everything else, you gotta be a serious adult, right? You gotta have the stomach for, you know, especially if you're cutting checks and you're like funding business, you know, you gotta have a serious appetite for it. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to stay the course and play the long game. You know, because I've lost a lot of money, and it's been through the mishaps, the mistakes, you know, the fumbles, the failures that I've learned the most and grown from the most. But I've stayed the course. So now, you know, with our leadership and our restaurant group and our business and with municipal and the apparel business and all the things that we're doing, we are now have the right people in the right places, and we know and understand the business, and we've made these mistakes and now can avoid making these mistakes, and we've got a much better chance of success. But you gotta have tough skin. Gotta have tough skin. And in the movie business, like anything, you know, like in baseball, right? You know, you're batting 300, you still go into the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? That's one, you know, 3 hits every 10 at bats. Now, you know, I feel like we have a much better batting average in what we do, but I've also taken so seriously when somebody is willing to make an investment in me. They're saying, okay, I'm gonna give you $50 million, $100 million to go make a movie. I am cherishing that, like it is mine. And I'm gonna make sure that we're on time or ahead of schedule and on budget or under budget, and we're gonna make sure that they make a serious return on their investment, you know? And when people buy into our business, invest with us, or take a swing with me, I gotta make sure that I deliver. Yeah.
Well, listen, man, we appreciate you. I don't know,
just the whole idea of, you know, thinking that I conquered something, I don't know, it just invites me to be complacent, and I don't wanna be complacent. I'm hungry, I'm focused, I'm more hungry now than I've ever been, so.
Well, we know this season the Celtics gonna have to play dirty in order to win. I don't know if they're gonna do good this year. I don't know. I really don't.
It's okay. Well, I know the Sixers ain't doing shit either.
Oh,
we know that.
We got Joel back.
We know that. Well, listen, I love Joel. Actually, we're going to be shooting in Philly. So the movie that I'm doing now, it's about a father and a son on this journey to bond, and the son basically has figured out a way, because dad's a truck driver, how to go all across the country to visit all 30 NBA stadium arenas at their home arenas so he could pick his favorite team. And he's autistic, and his dad is a truck driver, and basically they're driving truck, and he's driving back and forth to all these places, and they're figuring out coupons and all these different contests to win, like a Dave & Buster's, to get discounts on tickets. It's based on a true story, a movie called Weekend Warriors, about it's a German film. So we got the rights, and we're shooting the movie now, but we're coming to Philly to shoot in Philly. So,
Oh, man,
yeah,
that's good.
we'll have to get you
Choose
guys
what
coming.
movies you're gonna shoot.
Well, you know, it's something that I'm passionate about. I do a lot of developing myself. So, you know, look, I wanted to be a boxer when I grew up. You know what I mean? I fought when I was a kid, so I wanted to be a boxer. And then, of course, being able to do the fighter play Mickey Ward, who was a real Boston sports hero because he grew up in our neighborhoods. You know what I mean? He wasn't like Larry Bird, who came from Indiana, or somebody else who came to town. You know, Brady's from California.
Yeah.
He was a real hometown hero, and it was very tangible because you're like, oh my God, this guy could do this growing up, fighting in the Silver Mittens and the Golden Gloves, and then come up, winning the world title, you know, going in the UK and fighting for the title, winning the title. That was a story that I really wanted to do. So there's things that I develop that I kind of will to make happen on my own, and there's other things that people will come to me. But you know, just finding things that are going to challenge me as an actor. I think continuously surprising audiences with new things, and then I always like doing the complete opposite of the last thing that I did. So
Have you ever had to turn down a lot of money because the script you just felt as though it didn't match you?
Yes, many times. Many times.
And have you looked back in those movies and
And I did a couple where I took the money and I regretted doing those films. So yeah, I think the money will always be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're making great movies and people really want to go and see them, and the audience turns up, you know, you'll always be able to make the money. But you want to make movies that are memorable, you know, because this is the most important part of making the movies, right? Going out there now, convincing an audience, you know, on October 1st to go to Amazon Prime and to watch this movie when they have many choices, right? So they got to have, for me, the only way I decide on what I'm going to see in a theater or on you know, on streaming platforms is when I see the trailer, right? When I see something, I'm like, oh, I like that. If I see something that I don't like, I'm not going to watch it.
Right.
You know, it's just what it is, right? So marketing the movie is just as important, if not as more important than making the movie, right?
This episode of $1 Million Worth of Game is brought to you by Body Armor Flash I.V. Flash I.V. delivers faster, longer lasting hydration with over 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes and no artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners like those other drinks. So whether you're training, traveling, or just feeling the heat from a hard workout, Body Armor Flash I.V. is the best way to hydrate. Hydrate with Body Armor Flash I.V. Make sure you grab yours at your local 7-Eleven. So when you out at a 7-Eleven and you like, do, I'm thirsty, do, I'm hydrated. What should I get? Bam! You see what you should get? Body Armor Flash I.V. What are we talking about? A bunch of great flavors and the best way to hydrate. Try you some at your local 7-Eleven. Right.
What's up, everybody? I'm Wallow, $267 million worth of game, and I am a Roe partner. One thing about Roe is a life changer. So if you're going through something right now with ED, don't even worry about it. Roe is going to take care of all that. Roe Sparks is a 2-in-1 prescription treatment for stronger, harder erections. I'm talking about you're going to be standing like a statue. I'm telling you, life is going to change. They hit the bloodstream like this. They work in 15 minutes on average. And guess what? That means more sex, it's a game changer. You want a thicker, a longer erection? Roe Sparks is here for you. Roe Sparks is active in your system for 36 hours, so you go back to back, round after round, and be ready in the morning. Be ready for play with Roe Sparks. Roe connect guys with a medical provider, 100% online, so there's no awkward conversations with in-person providers. You don't have to worry about none of that. If approved, treatment shipped directly to your door. I'm talking about you ain't got to go nowhere. It go right to your door if you get approved. If prescribed, new sexual health partners get $15 off Sparks on recurring plans. Connect with a provider at roe.co/MDWOG to find out if prescription Roe Sparks is right for you. That's roe.co/MDWOG for $15 off your first order. What are you waiting for?
I want to tell the audience out there that Play Dirty is definitely a watcher.
It's a bang.
It's a bang.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? I'm a trailer warrior, right? I watch a lot of trailers on YouTube, and a lot of them trailers be getting me. I get to the movie theater, because I'm still old school. I want to eat the popcorn in the movie theater a lot of times, so I go to the movie theater, or I'll watch it on streaming platform when it come out. And a lot of times they get me, and I be like, I can't do this one. Because the trailers is so good, but the Play Dirty trailer, it matched the whole movie. It keeps you,
we're always hoping that the movie's going to be better than the trailer.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, yes, if people have short attention spans, now, especially if they're sitting at home, if they press that pause button or that stop button, you're done. You know, and I was a big trailer guy too. I mean, I used to, before COVID, my kids and I would go to the movies at least 3 or 4 times a week. You know, my wife and I would have our date night, we'd go to a movie, and then we'd take the kids, and we'd always sit there and watch the trailers, and we'd do that pick it or kick it, right? So if you see the trailer, you like it, that shit was corny, Dad, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it's
all
bullshit.
Right, so, you know, we're not going, right? And we just went to see a movie not too long ago, about a month and a half ago we went, and it was the first time that we had done that in a while. It was bring back great memories.
Yeah, that's everything. Sitting in the movie theater, it's just that they still got all them goddamn trailers at the beginning of the movie.
Love
They go. You got like a half an hour before. But how is it knowing that the movie game changed, the business changed on the aspect from going to a movie theater now it's going straight to the stream? You know what I mean?
Yeah, look,
Platforms.
I think, you know, in a perfect world, I would have always, you know, preferred the cinematic experience, but people are going to decide when and where they want to watch their content, right? When they want to consume the content. Phone, it's the worst place to watch it for me because it's so small. Right? You're not, I mean, we want you to be captivated, the big screen.
The sound.
But, you know, it's the same thing with music. If you don't stay ahead of the curve, you're going to get left behind. So, you know, we want to make great films, and we've had a lot of success in streaming, you know, and I find myself now watching as many movies on streaming, even more than I do at the theater.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, I think it's just you have to be willing to change with the times. You know, I think, you know, a lot of the purists, they get so upset and they want to see everything, you know, projected on 70 millimeter with the whole thing. I get it. Yeah. You know, everybody wants a 4-hour movie with an intermission, but it's just different. You know, I mean, I kind of cringe at the idea of like 10-minute movies and that sort of thing.
Short
but
films.
even that's something that's very popular. I mean,
it is.
I'm starting to now expand my horizons, just get to understand what a lot of influencers doing and stuff. These guys have massive audiences, you know, and they're doing a lot of really cool stuff. So I think, you know, there's ways to work together. But I like creating content that really keeps people captivated, whether you're laughing, crying, screaming, yelling. Nothing better than going to a movie where people are interacting. You know, I remember seeing certain movies, certain places, and it just sticks with you forever.
What is it? What are some actors that you didn't get to work with yet that you would love to work with?
Ooh, that I haven't worked with?
Yeah, that you would love to work with.
God, there's so many. Young, old.
I'm talking about the top of your list.
Oh.
And you could call them up right now and y'all can start shooting tomorrow.
That's tough. I mean, look, I've worked with Jack Nicholson, Duvall, Jimmy Caan, Denzel Washington. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, you know, but I'm an old school guy. So, you know, I mean, all of the greats, you know, I wish I would have got to work with Robert Redford, with Paul Newman, with, you know, I mean, there's so many, you know, Joe Pesci, who I've never worked with, who I've known for such a long time. And there's a lot of young talent now that's coming out, you know. I mean, you look at guys like Timothée Chalamet. There's so many talented people out there. Both, you know, actresses, actors, you know. I'm looking forward to working with some new and interesting people.
You got to pick a movie, right? And I'm gonna say a few. You only could pick one. Cool Hand Luke, Heat, Philadelphia, Ghostbusters. No, chill. That was one of my favorites. Man. I'm throwing that shit in there.
Has very collective.
I'm throwing my shit in there. I'm not going. You're not going to just do Ghostbusters like that.
When he's singing in the cars and shit.
Don't do that. I had to throw that out there.
Okay.
Cool Hand
Luke for sure.
You gonna pick Cool Hand Luke?
Yeah.
You would have. That's
George Kennedy played my grandfather in the movie.
Yeah.
George Kennedy was the guy that he had the fight with, you know, when they were eating all the eggs.
Eggs.
Yeah. Cool Hand Luke. Luke Askew was in that movie. I worked with Luke Askew on The Traveler. Yeah, for sure.
That was unbelievable.
Loved Philadelphia. Worked with Jonathan Demme, who directed Philadelphia. Heat. You know, I think they're making another one now. But Cool Hand Luke is in a world of its own compared to those. George Kennedy actually won Best Supporting Actor.
You ain't even acknowledge Ghostbusters though, man. I feel some type of I'm just saying, like.
No disrespect. It's just not my thing. I'm not really a sci-fi guy, you know, the ghosts and all that shit.
I can't let him get out of here without asking him.
I love the Lord. I don't believe in ghosts.
Yeah, I know.
A sports question.
Sure.
Who's the top 5 Boston athletes of all time?
All time?
All time. No, it doesn't have to. It's any sport.
Bill Russell, number 1. I try to figure out some different sports. Rocky Marciano, 50-0. Got to give it to Rocky. Tom Brady. Got to put TB12 on there. I'd be getting a phone call if I didn't. Yes. Bird.
Okay.
And there's so many. I mean, it's craziness.
That's why I knew it would be
you could just
question.
Yeah. I mean, you could. I would say, I would have to split it between KG and Paul Pierce, because because they gave us another chip
That's
in a real way. But there's so many. There's so many.
a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you got Bobby Orr, you got Ted Williams. I mean,
Gronkowski.
oh my God, Big Poppy. It just goes
Poppy,
on.
yeah.
and on
Yeah,
and
you
on.
Poppy.
big left, big
Yeah,
Poppy.
yeah,
Oh,
no baseball. Yeah.
Well, I never got into baseball, but right now, Phillies. It could be Phillies Red Sox in the World Series. You never know.
And it is.
Just keep beating them Mets, baby.
Yes. What we gonna do is, we bringing the World Series back to Philadelphia this year.
Could be another World Series, another Super Bowl.
That'd be amazing. And then next year is the baseball All-Star in Philly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, we appreciate you for taking
Appreciate
your
you, man.
time.
Likewise, man.
Play dirty.
So happy for you guys and all your
Play
success.
dirty.
October
Play dirty.
1st.
Amazon Prime.
It's going down.
Go watch that.
My guys,
The legend.
appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
It's
Thank
just
you,
like
guys.
that, right?
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you, man.
Good work.
Man, thank you, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Get this photo.